Hidden among the ruins of the Indus Valley are not just bricks, drains, and pottery, but something more surprising: games, dice, toys, boards, and playful objects that tell us a secret story of humanity, that even 4,000 years ago, people laughed, competed, and played. What were these games? How did they look? And why have they been forgotten by time? Today, we dive into the lost playgrounds of the Indus Valley Civilization. History often remembers battles, kings, and empires, but history is also built from the joy and imagination of ordinary people. The Indus Valley Civilization, one of the world's earliest urban societies, thrived more than 4,000 years ago across modern Pakistan and India. Its people built advanced cities, traded with distant lands, and created a script we still cannot read. But hidden inside this great civilization is something softer, more human: their forgotten games. Toys carved from clay, dice made from ivory, miniature carts, animal figurines, and mysterious boards. These were not just objects, they were windows into childhood, community, and culture. In this journey, we will walk through the streets of Mohenjo-daro, sit with merchants after long days of trade, and peek into the playful corners of daily life that history nearly erased. The ruins of Mohenjo-daro may look like silent bricks today, but thousands of years ago, these streets echoed with voices, laughter, and games. Imagine narrow lanes filled with barefoot children chasing each other, small hands gripping toys made of clay, and elders watching with calm smiles. Games were not just entertainment, they were a way of building friendships, teaching lessons, and connecting generations. These games gave rhythm to life, balancing the weight of hard work with the joy of play. Among the most fascinating discoveries in Indus Valley archaeology are small dice carved from bone, stone, and ivory. Some of them look identical to the dice we roll today, with dots carefully etched into their sides. But others carry strange markings, symbols that suggest they were more than toys. They may have been used in rituals or for divination. Picture a group of men gathered under the shade of a tree, rolling dice across a flat stone, hoping to predict the outcome of a harvest, a journey, or even a marriage. In these tiny cubes of stone lay the thrill of chance and the mystery of fate. For the children of the Indus Valley, toys were not luxuries, they were part of growing up. Archaeologists have uncovered tiny clay animals, bulls with movable heads, miniature elephants, and even toy carts with rolling wheels. Imagine a child dragging a small clay bull across the courtyard, mimicking the plowing of fields he saw his father do, or a little girl pushing a toy cart while balancing a doll inside. These toys were more than playthings, they were reflections of daily life, teaching children about farming, animals, and community roles. Through toys, children practiced the world they would one day inherit. Among the most mysterious objects from the Indus Valley are carved stone and terracotta boards with grids, holes, and patterns. Some resemble early versions of strategy games, perhaps ancestors of chess or Ludo. Picture two friends sitting across a low table in the evening, moving beads as pieces, thinking hard about their next move, while a small crowd gathers to watch. These games were not just entertainment, they were training for the mind, sharpening skills of patience, calculation, and strategy. To sit across a game board in Mohenjo-daro was to step into a quiet battlefield of ideas. The Indus Valley was a hub of trade, connecting Mesopotamia to Central Asia. After long days of bargaining and weighing goods, merchants may have turned to games for relaxation. Imagine a caravan halted at dusk, camels resting, spices and cloth stacked nearby. Traders sit in a circle, throwing dice or playing a board game, laughter echoing under the desert stars. For them, games were a way to ease fatigue, bond with partners, and perhaps even strike deals. Play was not limited to children, it was a language spoken by adults across cultures. Not all games were casual. Some dice and boards may have been tied to rituals of luck and fortune. Historians suggest that priests or elders may have used dice to seek guidance from gods before harvests or journeys. Imagine a temple courtyard, with sacred fire burning. As a priest rolls carved dice onto a flat stone slab, the crowd waits in silence, believing the outcome to be a divine sign. In this way, games crossed into the spiritual world, where chance became prophecy. Another set of remarkable finds includes clay dolls, some simple, some decorated with jewelry-like markings. These dolls may have been children's toys, but they might also have carried cultural or religious meaning. Picture a girl holding a doll dressed like the women of her city, with ornaments painted onto its body. To the child, it was a friend. To historians, it is a fragment of how identity and culture were passed down. Dolls were teachers, playmates, and tiny carriers of tradition. Some Indus Valley toys weren't static, they had moving parts. archaeologists discovered miniature carts with wheels that could actually turn and animal figurines with movable heads. These objects reveal how clever craftsmen were, even in everyday playthings. Imagine a boy pulling his cart across a dusty lane while another child races his bull figurine whose head shakes as it moves. These toys show that Indus Valley people valued innovation not only in their cities but also in their children's games. Play was alive with motion, creativity, and imagination. Games in the Indus Valley weren't just personal entertainment, they were social. Sitting together, laughing, competing, and sharing rules created a sense of belonging. Just as modern families gather for board games or sports, Indus Valley communities used play to strengthen ties. Imagine families sitting outside their homes in the evening, children rolling dice, adults watching over, and neighbors joining in. Through these simple moments, people built bonds that lasted across generations. Play was a universal bridge, uniting the society of the Indus. Play was also education. A toy cart taught children about transport and trade, a clay bowl about farming, and dice about chance and decision-making. These toys mirrored the adult world, preparing children for the roles they would one day take. Imagine a father smiling as his son pushes a toy cart, saying, "One day, you will guide a real caravan." Play was the classroom of the Indus Valley, where lessons of life were learned not from scrolls, but from clay. Though many games belonged to children, adults too found joy in them. Traders, farmers, and craftsmen likely gathered after long workdays to play dice or board games. In moments of play, the hierarchy of work dissolved. Merchants, laborers, and priests could sit side by side. Picture a busy street where, after sunset, workers put aside tools, merchants fold their ledgers, and everyone gathers around a clay board, laughing together. Play equalized society, reminding everyone that joy was not bound by class. One question still puzzles archaeologists. How were these games played? Boards, dice, and toys survive, but their rules are lost. Did they play for points, for luck, or for storytelling? Did certain moves carry cultural meaning? Imagine holding a 4,000-year-old game board in your hands, feeling the grooves of carved squares, and wondering, what was the first move? The silence of history hides the laughter of children and the tension of players. These objects whisper of games we may never fully understand. The Indus Valley was not just a collection of houses, it was a vibrant community. Festivals and gatherings likely included music, dance, and of course, games. Imagine a crowded marketplace decorated with clay lamps, where children play dice on the ground, while women watch puppet-like dolls perform. Merchants call out their goods, musicians beat drums, and in the center, a group plays a strategy game on a carved stone board. These festivals were more than entertainment, they reinforced culture, identity, and joy. Games added rhythm to the music of community life. Not every toy was equal. Some clay toys were simple and rough, while others were finely crafted from ivory or decorated with paint. This suggests that toys may have reflected social class. The child of a wealthy merchant might own a polished ivory dice set, while a farmer's son played with a clay bowl shaped roughly by hand. In this way, even play mirrored society's divisions, showing how status and wealth shaped childhood. But in the joy of play, differences often faded. Rich or poor, every child laughed alike. Not every toy was equal. Some clay toys were simple and rough, while others were finely crafted from ivory or decorated with paint. This suggests that toys may have reflected social class. The child of a wealthy merchant might own a polished ivory dice set, while a farmer's son played with a clay bowl shaped roughly by hand. In this way, even play mirrored society's divisions, showing how status and wealth shaped childhood. But in the joy of play, differences often faded. Rich or poor, every child laughed alike. Games in the Indus Valley were not left behind after childhood. Adults carried play with them into their social lives. For them, dice may have been tied to fortune, board games to strategy, and toys to ritual. Imagine two elders sitting at a city gate, rolling dice while debating politics, their voices mixing with the sound of traders passing by. For these men, play was not childish, it was wisdom wrapped in chance, a reminder that even in age, life could be unpredictable and fun. Games were more than leisure, they were teachers of values. Dice taught patience, chance, and humility. Strategy boards taught planning and foresight. Toys mirrored farming, trade, and ritual, giving children a rehearsal for adult life. In play, children learned fairness, sharing, and courage. In games, adults practiced negotiation, trust, and sometimes deception. These silent lessons, hidden in laughter and competition, shaped the character of the Indus Valley people. To play was to prepare for life itself. The Indus Valley was famous for its trade connections. Archaeologists have found Indus seals as far away as Mesopotamia, which suggests that not only goods but perhaps even toys and games traveled across borders. Imagine a Mesopotamian child playing with a clay toy cart brought by an Indus merchant, while somewhere in Harappa, a boy rolls dice traded from the West. Games became silent ambassadors, carrying culture beyond cities and rivers. Through toys and play, civilizations touched each other in ways that politics and armies never could. It is possible that games even had a role in diplomacy. Imagine two leaders meeting at the edge of a river, tensions running high, but breaking the ice with a simple dice game or a shared board. Play has always been a universal language easy to understand, bringing laughter even between strangers. The Indus Valley's traders, with their sharp skills, may have used games as tools of trust, turning negotiations into friendly competitions. In a world without written contracts, a game could symbolize fairness and goodwill. Games often blur the line between entertainment and spirituality. In the Indus Valley, dice may have been more than toys, they may have been a way to read fate. Picture a priest rolling ivory dice before a crowd, declaring the numbers as signs of fortune or warning. In a society that carefully planned its cities, chance still had a place, reminding people that life was never fully in their control. These rituals gave power to play, making dice both sacred and playful. One of the greatest mysteries of these games is that we do not know their rules. The dice, boards, and toys remain, but the instructions have vanished into the silence of history. Did they play for points, for storytelling, or for prophecy? Archaeologists can only guess. Imagine holding a cracked clay board in your hands, the groove still visible, wondering what laughter or arguments once surrounded it. The mystery itself makes these objects powerful. They connect us to curiosity, the very thing that defines humanity. If you close your eyes at Mohenjo-Daro today, you hear only silence and wind. But 4,000 years ago, these streets were alive with the echo of children's laughter. Games gave joy to children, rest to adults, and meaning to rituals. Though the toys are now broken, and the dice lie buried in museums, their spirit still whispers. The Indus Valley Games remind us that no matter how far back we go, play has always been part of the human story. In laughter, we find the truest link to our ancestors. One fascinating toy often found is the clay bull on wheels. Some historians believe children might have raced them, dragging their bulls side by side in playful competition. Imagine a dusty courtyard, two boys crouched at the starting line, pulling their toy bulls with laughter while others cheer them on. For those children, it was not just a game, it was their own version of racing, a joyful mirror of the animals that powered their fields and trade. Play was not limited to toys, and dice music too was a form of play. Archaeologists have found terracotta whistles shaped like birds, which produced soft, melodic sounds. Picture children blowing into these whistles, creating music while others danced in circles. These small instruments reveal the creativity of Indus Valley children, mixing sound with joy. Play became music, and music became memory, echoing across clay walls. It is possible that certain games were tied to seasons. Festivals after harvest or rituals at the start of summer may have included playful competitions. Imagine boys rolling dice during the monsoon, while girls float toy boats in small puddles formed by rain. Each season brought its own rhythm, and play followed the heartbeat of nature. In this way, the calendar of the Indus Valley was not only measured in farming and trade but also in games and joy. Some toys seem less practical and more imaginative, strange figurines with exaggerated features, animals that never existed, or shapes that appear symbolic. These reveal the creativity of children, who imagined worlds beyond reality. A girl might pretend her clay figure was a goddess, while a boy imagined his strange toy as a magical beast. These toys prove that imagination, like play, is timeless. Children have always dreamed bigger than the world around them. Even though the Indus Valley Civilization declined, the idea of games survived. Later civilizations in India and beyond developed chess, pachisi, and countless other games that may trace their roots back to these clay boards and dice. The spirit of the Indus Valley's toys lived on, reshaped by new cultures. In a way, every time we roll a dice or sit at a board game today, we echo the laughter of those ancient streets. What made games powerful was their simplicity. They belonged to everyone. Rich or poor, young or old, man or woman, anyone could play. A clay toy could bring joy equal to an ivory dice. This equality of play is perhaps the greatest lesson of the Indus Valley. Joy does not need wealth. It only needs imagination. For archaeologists, these toys and dice are not just artifacts, they are gifts from the past. Each clay bowl, each fragment of a game board, carries the fingerprints of children long gone. They remind us that history is not only written in kings and wars, but in laughter, play, and small moments of joy. To uncover a toy is to hold the heartbeat of a child across 4,000 years. Today, the ruins of the Indus Valley lie silent, but through the artifacts of play, we can hear its echoes. The streets once filled with laughter are empty, yet the toys tell us a truth. Play is eternal. Civilizations may rise and fall, but games survive in new forms, carried across centuries. The Indus Valley reminds us that no matter how far back we look, humans have always played, dreamed, and imagined. The forgotten games of the Indus Valley show us that history is not only about power, politics, or empires. It is also about children chasing clay carts, families laughing over dice, and communities celebrating through toys and music. These small objects are proof that joy is as ancient as civilization itself. When we roll a dice, push a toy, or gather around a board game today, we are not just playing, we are continuing a story that began thousands of years ago in the dusty streets of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro. The Indus Valley may be silent now, but its laughter still lives on, carried in the timeless language of play.